Welcome to the Command Center. I'm Captain Katarn. For better or worse, I spend most of my life in this room. From this desk, I work my day job remotely, run my 3D printing business, and make every video on this channel. I stopped doing face cams because there's no upside anymore. Facial recognition is real, and I'm not interested in becoming a target over video game opinions. But I've been showing parts of this setup in VR videos, and it felt like the right time to give you a proper look at the space that inspires everything I do. Let's start right when you walk in. Intrepid Dawn Studios is my 3D printing business. I make customized Mandalorian and Star Wars costumes for people who want high-end pieces that, when finished correctly, can qualify for premium cosplay groups like the 501st or the Mandalorian Mercs. We use so much power that I'm honestly surprised it hasn't raised eyebrows for something way more suspicious than 3D printing, if you catch my drift. This Mando helmet right here is the best one I've ever made, and I keep it on display as a reminder of the standard I want to reach with my products. There isn't a single extrusion out of place on it. The Clone Trooper helmet is another perfect print, but it's about 5% too small to wear thanks to an error on my part, which makes it just right to be a display piece. Next to it is the Starfield Collector's Edition with the custom watch. You don't need to tell me how disappointing that game was, the watch does it perfectly. And finally, there's an Alexa inside a TIE fighter shell, plus the Mako from Mass Effect. I wanted to dress up the wall directly behind my desk in case I ever decide to start face cam streaming again, so I had these logo panels made. They're 2-foot square aluminum with my logos printed on them directly. I wanted them to have some depth, so they sit about an inch off the wall, and I lit them from the sides to really make them pop. I think they turned out great. We installed lighting around the perimeter of the ceiling, and I added a lighting strip around the perimeter of my desk. I also did some Star Wars-inspired light panels over the switches, a droid interface panel for my R2 unit, and some hexagon lights to tie the space together. Before we get into the hardware, I want to set the tone for this part. This room is the result of years of upgrades, hand-me-downs, repurposed parts, and things slowly evolving as my work changed. I've never thrown out or sold an old PC or piece of hardware when I'm done with it. Every upgrade I've ever made turned into the next machine for someone else, or got reused in some way. If something still works, I'll find a way to use it. I share this room with my wife, and her gaming setup is right beside me. For a long time, she had her own office, and we realized we just weren't spending much time together during the day after she got home from work. This solved it in a big way. Her main monitor is the Samsung Odyssey G9, the 49-inch super ultra-wide. I also added a second monitor above it so she can multitask or watch shows while she games, and yet, I still catch her watching stuff on her tiny phone screen instead, which always makes me laugh and sigh to myself. Her PC is easily the most ridiculous thing in the room. It used to be my main system, and it still means a lot to me. I also used it as the abstract background for all of my product photos for years, as it drips with that super cool industrial sci-fi look. The PC case is an OnTech Torque, and I love the design, but the water cooling is what really steals the show on this one. I've been building my own PCs since around 2005, and I wanted to challenge myself to do a full custom hard tube loop where I planned and bent everything myself. I found a distro plate designed for this case and decided to go all in. I'm genuinely proud of how it turned out, and I will absolutely never do it again. It's more than enough for anything she plays like Ark. On top of the desk are the two network-attached storage solutions I use. The sexy aluminum case was my old one, and it was a custom-built SSD-based system. The newer, smaller one is much simpler, significantly faster, and somehow still cheaper. I also keep an off-site backup because if I lose those files, then I'll lose my printing business. This is my Star Destroyer, and it's probably the single longest running project I've ever finished in my life. It's just over 38 inches long, it's fully 3D printed, and it took me about 2 years to finally complete. Not 2 years of non-stop work, more like 2 years of it sitting there unfinished, judging me every time I walked past it. It's my take on Grand Admiral Thrawn's flagship, the Chimera. It's not screen accurate, and it's definitely not perfect, but I love it anyway. You can actually see where I switched filament suppliers for my business, because the whites aren't all the same shade. I extended the supports to lift the ship higher because Star Destroyers carry just as much mass below the center line as they do above it, and I wanted to see all of that. Only seeing the top half never felt right to me. They're massive, imposing ships, and hiding half of that takes away some of the majesty. Now for the main course, my desk. Desk space is the most important thing in an office. I've always found you'll notice it as soon as you don't have enough. These white desks are clamped together with C-clamps to make it a single unit, and it's rock solid. Each one is 80 inches long by 40 inches wide. Getting them put together in here was like Tetris, but totally worth it. I've been a Star Citizen backer for about 10 years now, and I've gone through a lot of hardware in that time. I've had a set of the X52s, the X56s, the Thrustmaster T1600s, and probably a few others I've forgotten. After The Mandalorian Season 3 dropped and my business went absolutely insane with orders, I finally decided to stop messing around and buy what I hope are the last flight controls I'll ever need. These are from Verpil. I'm using the Constellation Alpha Prime stick on a Mongoose base, paired with the CM3 throttle, and an additional control panel for modes and industrial gameplay. They're not cheap, and I know that puts them out of reach for a lot of people, but after a ton of research, I was convinced this was the right call. I added pedals for the first time in my life, and getting used to using them was rough, but worth it once my brain figured it out. I also picked up a co-pilot along the way. Ladies and gentlemen, meet my R2 unit. R2 units are huge, and he's only 89% the size of a screen-accurate version, but still takes up a ton of space in here. I got him at Home Depot of all places. Eventually, I'll print my own custom droid someday when the business slows down. But for now, he just stands watch over my adventures in the game. I did put a restraining bolt on him because sometimes he really doesn't know when to shut up. Just like my wife's setup, my main display is the Samsung Odyssey G9. It's incredible for productivity, but it's not ideal for streaming or recording. YouTube really wants a 16:9 aspect ratio, so I run most games in borderless windowed mode at 1440p, which can leave some performance on the table. There's a new 57-inch version that's basically two 4K screens stitched together, and sure, I'd love to have it, but it's way too expensive, and this one works fine. I also have a 43-inch cheap Hisense TV above it for added productivity or multitasking. If you look closely, you can see my Tobii eye tracker mounted on the monitor too. Under the monitor are two small 3D printed ships. The first one is my Memory Falcon. Yes, that's what it sounds like. It's a Millennium Falcon model designed to hold memory cards and USB drives. And it was the very first thing I ever printed on a 3D printer. Next to it is the original concept model of the Mercury Star Runner, and in my opinion, still the best version of that ship. And no, I can't make one for you. CIG aggressively protects their IP, so please don't ask. But if you want a Mando costume, hit me up. If you notice the audio quality improved on my videos around mid-2025, that wasn't an accident. I finally decided that if I wanted to be taken seriously and grow this channel, I needed to fix it. My old Blue Yeti with a buzzing issue was retired, and I learned a little bit about how to process audio in post. And truthfully, I'm still learning. I hope to continue to improve since I do all of the editing. Now I'm using a Shure SM7B with a cloud lifter and a dedicated mixer, and it's easily been one of the biggest quality upgrades I've made for the channel. The mixer is a Go XLR, which is honestly a nostalgia pick for me. When I started YouTube back in 2017, these were the mixers built specifically for streamers. RGB everywhere, full customization, motorized faders. They just looked cool on a desk like this. It does what I need, it sounds great, and it fits the setup. I wish I could say the pixel art panel on my desk serves some big functional purpose, but honestly, it's just here to entertain me. I had grand ambitions for hanging it on the wall, but that never happened. Finally, there's the Stream Deck. It's pretty standard kit for most streamers at this point. This is the XL version, which just means they can charge you even more. You could use it for additional button control for Star Citizen, but I think there are more cost-effective options. Elgato has never had any competition with these, and the prices have never fallen either. Let's talk about input devices. Starting on the left side of my desk is the Razer Tartarus Pro. This replaced my old Logitech G13, which I'd been using for MMOs basically since I discovered them. I don't play Star Wars Galaxies very much anymore, and the death of my G13 is probably why. I just can't get used to the Tartarus. Sometimes the old ways are like John McClane. They die hard. My keyboard is from Glorious Gaming. They have a build-your-own keyboard setup where you choose everything from the case color to the gaskets and how stiff the board feels when you type. MX Cherry Blues for the win, fight me. The keycaps are custom and I call the colorway Lunar Ice. I know this is nerdy as shit and I wouldn't have it any other way. My work laptop lives on the left and I use a KBM switch mounted under the desk to toggle my main keyboard and mouse control between my work machine and my main PC. I actually keep 3 mice on the desk. One is permanently tied to the laptop, one stays on the gaming rig, and the third is my main mouse, the one that moves with the switch. My mouse is the Logitech G502 X Plus. It's wireless and paired with the PowerPlay charging mat, so I never have to plug it in ever. I've used some version of the G502 for the last 10 years. I love these things. It feels really nice in my hand. This is my current gaming PC. I used to name these but never got around to it this time. Maybe you can suggest a name in the comments. It's built to be overkill in every way. I'm using the same Antec Torque case as my wife's system, but this time I left it unpainted. I also carried forward everything I learned from the last build. Specifically, water cooling is great, but custom loops absolutely suck if you plan to upgrade. To solve that issue, this system uses all-in-one cooling for the CPU, and the GPU has a factory-installed water loop of its own. It gives me the performance I want without turning every upgrade or cleaning session into a full-day project. These are my VR headset display stands with all the headsets I've been testing and using in Star Citizen. I wasn't joking when I said I got really into VR. The stands are made from IKEA lamps shaped like heads with internal RGB lighting combined with custom printed bases that securely hold everything together. Speaking of VR, my partners at Pimax know that right now it can be tough to get into VR with rising component costs, and they've put together a program to help. From now until March 31st, they're offering a discount of up to $200 just for switching to Pimax from your old VR headset. Submitting proof of purchase to Pimax of another VR headset from any manufacturer, you'll get up to $100 off a Pimax Crystal Lite, or a bundle of premium items with a Pimax Crystal Super, including updated DMAS audio and prescription lenses. Unlike trading in your phone, you keep your old headset. Pimax is also doing a giveaway this month through January 31st. Anyone who uses my code Captain Katarn to purchase a Pimax headset will receive a DMAS upgraded audio kit as a bonus. Additionally, for every 10 orders, Pimax will randomly pull one winner. If you purchase the Crystal Super, you'll get an extra QLED optical engine. If you purchase the Crystal Lite, they'll completely refund your purchase. That's a hell of a deal. That's pretty much it. This room isn't finished, and it probably never will be. It keeps changing because my work changes, my interests change, and honestly, I change too. But this space is where everything I do comes together. Every video, every live stream, every idea that somehow turns into something bigger than I expected starts right here. If you've been around this channel for a while, thanks for sticking with me. I really appreciate you. And if you're newer, welcome to the crew. Thanks again for hanging out with me and taking the tour. I'll see you in the verse.